Hi everyone, welcome back to the Home Fire Campaign video series tutorials. My name is Mary Summers. I'm the Regional Preparedness Manager here in the Kentucky region. And this video today is about our deaf and hard of hearing alarms that we have here in Kentucky that we use for our youth, 18 and under. So a couple of years ago, we had a grant given to us by WHAS, Crusade for Children, that's based out of Louisville. And what the grant did was provide us with deaf and hard of hearing alarms to have in stock here in our region that would be used for youth who are deaf or hard of hearing. So a little bit different than our LifeTone alarms that we get from National. Our national partners provide us with LifeTone alarms once we input a request for those. These are specifically for youth, and we do have them here in-house in the Louisville headquarters office. And what we try to do is get sign-ups and registrations and then get these alarms out to kids that need them. So this is region-wide available, but it makes Kentucky a little bit unique compared to some of our neighboring regions and across the nation where we have two different types of deaf and hard of hearing alarms. So you'll hear these referred to as the WHAS alarms, and that's who gave us the grant. You'll hear them also referred to as the child deaf and hard of hearing alarms or Silent Call. Silent Call is the brand of these alarms rather than our alarms from our national support team, which are LifeTone alarms. So first I wanted to just show you the pieces of equipment that go along with these alarms. First, we actually have a smoke detector, a smoke alarm that goes with these. So again, you'll see Silent Call here. It's the Medallion series is what we have. And these smoke alarms sync up to what I'll show you in a second with the deaf and hard of hearing bed shaker piece and the receiver. So we are unable to use our 10-year KIDA alarms with these receivers. There's a radio frequency that goes between this alarm and the associated receiver that our KIDA alarms do not have. However, these are 10-year lithium-ion battery alarms, just like the KIDA ones, and they do count towards our 10-year alarm installs on the service acknowledgement form. And we'll touch on that at the end of this video. So this is the smoke alarm. It looks just like this. We'll have one out of the box here in just a minute. But this is the smoke alarm. You can install these in the home. We try to stick with the same guidance of an average of 2.5, so between 2 and 3 alarms installed in a home where the Silent Call bed shaker receiver is installed. So the next up is that bed shaker receiver. Again, you'll see Silent Call here in the Medallion series because these all link up together. And the receiver looks like this. We'll see the piece of equipment here in just a moment, but there is a flasher light up here at the top. So when it's activated, when something triggers this receiver, there is a light that flashes. And we'll get a closer look at these, but these are some symbols for not only smoke alarms, but some of the other pieces of equipment that Silent Call offers, such as doorbells and telephones, carbon monoxide detectors, storm warning systems that would all sync up to this. And then that symbol would illuminate depending on which of the activators, in our case it would be the smoke alarm, is signaling the receiver to activate. So this is what the receiver looks like. Again, Silent Call, Medallion series. And then the last piece is the bed vibrator with pin jack piece. So it's the little pod and it connects into the receiver that we just saw. So this is the Silent Call bed vibrator pin jack. So basically what this means is going into any home, you need a minimum of 3 boxes with you. You need at least one of the smoke alarms, at least one of the receivers, and at least one of the pin jacks. So you would most likely want to take multiple smoke alarms, so that way you have enough to make the house safe. And then if there's multiple deaf and hard of hearing children in the house, you'll need multiple receivers and multiple pin jacks, and they all go together. So let's walk through what that looks like. Let's start with the smoke alarm. Here's your smoke alarm. It comes with a back, just like our 10-year KIDAs. So So you install this onto the ceiling or the wall. So you can tell you want to put the flat side onto the ceiling or the wall there. And we can use our drywall screws right in here as well. So the installation is the same. The installation guidelines are the same as well as to what a good location for those are. The biggest difference is our kiddo alarms have a sealed battery compartment. However, the battery compartment here on the Silent Call is right here, and the battery is visible, but it is protected by a pull tab. So this is our 10-year lithium-ion battery. You have to pull this and make sure that it's in place. If not, this will not allow the smoke alarm to make a sound or emit that radio frequency when it is tested. So you can see now, you just probably saw that little flash there. It's because I've pulled the strip so the battery has made the alarm active. So once you get the back in place and you get the alarm installed, they click together. There's a little notch that's there and a little notch here. So they click together so that way you know that they're installed and they are secure. And then we'll get to the test button. You'll need to have a screw or something that can poke in there. So you'll press that test button to activate. Okay, next up we have our receiver. So here it is out of the box. Again, we've got the flasher light here at the top. And then they're pretty hard to see while they're not lit up, but you do have the symbols here. So you can see right here in the corner, that's the one for fire. So if the smoke alarm goes off and it activates the receiver, this is the symbol that will be illuminated. We'll see what they all look like lit up here once we go through the process of syncing them up. You'll get to see them all lit up. That's part of that. On the back side, I wanted to point out a few things to you. There is an on and off switch. You do have to make sure it's on because this base right here is actually a rechargeable battery. So while it is plugged in, it is self-charging this battery. And that way, if the power ever goes out or if one of the kiddos pulls the plug and it's not plugged in, this is still active. So that battery is there and then will recharge. Next up right here is a place for power, and it says power above it, so you know what it is, because inside the box with this, there is also a power cord where you can plug it into the wall, and then this end of the power cord goes straight into that power port. Next is a little button here that is used for programming, and it's down in there, so you either need to have long nails or, again, something to poke into it. So that's the programming button, and we're going to get to that in just one moment. But the last piece here, this is for the vibrator piece. So that's for that little pod, which looks like this. So this is the piece. Just like with our LifeTone alarms, this can go underneath the pillow. It can go underneath the fitted sheet at the pillow, so that way it stays secure. Or it can go in between the mattress and box spring. The closer to the resident, so either under that pillow or under the fitted sheet, close to that pillow, that means it's going to be more direct there and it's going to be a stronger vibration felt, which could wake them up quicker. However, some people do not enjoy having this that close to them and want it in between the mattress and box spring. That's up to the resident. And then here is the piece, the pin jack, where it plugs in into the receiver, like so. And again, you'll want to set this piece on a bedside table, close to an outlet plug, so it can be plugged into the wall, and near to the bed, so this can go underneath the pillow, fitted sheet, or in between the mattress and box spring. So those are your three pieces. How do you make them work together? So we have our smoke alarm, and our smoke alarm is installed up on the wall or on the ceiling. Okay, so we've got that up there. We pulled that little strip out. The battery's got it active. So next we need to turn on our receiver piece. So I told you about the power button down here. You want to flip it on, and you'll see that there's a little green light that lights up. This shows that it is charged or it's plugged in. Obviously, I'm not plugged in right now, but there is that charge from that self-charging battery. Now it will blink yellow over here. You'll see like a yellow light come up showing that it's not plugged in, and also will indicate if it needs to be recharged. So that way the parents or the kids know, oh hey, it's blinking yellow, I need to get it plugged back into the wall. So that way it keeps its charge. Okay, so we've got our things up front, all of our symbols, and we've got our program button. All right, so when we press and hold our program button, so you see where I'm pressing with the white, I'm going to spin it around so you can see it though. You press and hold it, all of your symbols light up, the phone flashes, and now we have until all of these symbols go out one by one. See, this one just went off. We have that amount of time to activate the smoke alarm to sync in. So let me see if I can get that done here in time. We'll get our smoke alarm activated. Let's see. Oh, I don't have anything long enough to poke in there. I left my paper clip in the other room. 1 second. Paper clips are also a great option for activating your smoke alarm. So back to where we were. We are programming our smoke alarm. We're pressing and holding. We see our phone flash and our symbols light up. Okay, they're going to start going off one by one. So we know we can activate our smoke alarm. That test button is way down in there. Now we see the flash. It's bright, and we can see that this is vibrating. It'll go for a second, make sure everything's synced up. Okay, and we see also that symbol up at the top is the only one illuminated. That's showing the child or the parent, whoever is using this, it's showing that it's not the doorbell ringing, it's not the carbon monoxide, it's not the telephone, it's activating because of that smoke alarm. So once you have that, place this where it's comfortable for the child. Get it all set up on the bed, make sure this is nearby, somewhere where they may not be messing with it all the time, but it's still convenient. And then if you need to install additional alarms, do the same thing, install them, make sure that battery tab is pulled out. And once that battery tab is pulled out and it's installed, sync it up with the receiver as well. That way everything's activated and you're sure that it's working properly. Besides that, that's it for the installation. I just wanted to touch last on a couple pieces of the service acknowledgement form of how you fill this out. So regular service acknowledgement form, just like we do with our 10-year alarms, the first line up here is the number of new alarms installed and tested. This is anything new put in the home, not what is already there. Do not circle tested, do not circle installed, but not tested. This is new alarms that are put into the home that are then, that test button is pressed to make sure that they are active. So that is these. Any of these that are put into the home that are installed, that's what you want to put there. So if you put one, you put one. Maybe you needed to install 3 because it's a larger home, then you can install 3. For this piece here, the second question is the number of bed shaker alarms installed, and that's our receiver pin jack combo. So it's not, you don't count the receiver and the pin jack separately as 2, you count that as 1 because they have to be together to work. So if there's one deaf and hard of hearing child in the home, you should be installing one of those deaf and hard of hearing receiver pin jack combos. So that would be 1. If there's multiple children, then put the number of those combos that you have installed right there. And then the last is the number of batteries replaced. Typically, we're not doing that anymore. If you do happen to replace a 9-volt battery in a pre-existing smoke alarm, you can indicate that, but we really aim just to replace any of those 9-volt battery alarms with the newer, more approved, easier to take care of 10-year lithium-ion batteries. So likely this should be either not applicable or 0. And then please proceed to fill out the rest of the fire escapes or the fire service acknowledgement form, just like you would with the home fire safety escape plan and education received there in the household. signed by both yourself or whoever is on your team doing the documentation, as well as the resident, the parent or guardian. This needs to be someone 18 or older. And then fill out the information here at the bottom, the initial assessment. This is where you can indicate if there were pre-existing smoke alarms in the home, how many there were there some of them that were not working, were they old, did they get replaced? So this is your chance to fill that information out and give us some information about the demographics as well. Last, if you're working with a partner or you're from a partner organization, we value the time that our partners give us and the efforts that they have and the impact they have in our communities doing this campaign. So please make sure down in the local coalition partner name, you can indicate any of those names. Again, for our local AmeriCorps members, that's also where you want to put RCC for Red Cross Corps, and make sure your ID number, if you're an AmeriCorps member, is over in one of the optional columns. And then the red is for reporting once you're back at the office. So that's from one of your Red Cross point of contacts, whoever is doing your data entry. We'll get that input into the portal. You can see the data entry how-to video if you have some questions about that. And then we'll get it signed and we get it filed away, and hope that if there's ever an emergency at that home, that our efforts installing these alarms has helped make that family safer. Again, if you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can email me, give me a call. Happy to answer any questions, especially in regards to our deaf and hard of hearing alarms, since they are a little different, not just than our regular 10-year alarms, but we also have the 2 kinds here in Kentucky currently. So please give me a call. Thank you for watching, and thank you for helping us save lives.